Hi, this is Jace, and here I am sharing my case publicly, led by Mark Coate, that when the rules no longer protect you, you have to protect yourself. And I am only left with visible sharing of my case after 5 countries obeying orders from the United States. That's too much. 6 countries. So, this is episode 4 of my case, Sonic Attacks and Invisible Physical Torture. The stage accidents were visible attempts on my life. The sonic attacks were the invisible continuation of the same operation, right? And this episode talks about my written submissions, wave, drugs, TIGO, also POLI, Section 7 and Section 8 of my main written submission. So, all evidence in the wave, drugs, TIGO, POLI, supplementals, and Section 7 and 8. Documented injuries include a ruptured eardrum, permanent eye damage, TMG in the jaw, and cardiac symptoms. These occurred repeatedly in closed environments, shelter, dorm doors, and apartments. So the CIA mastered the art of hurting you somehow without touching you. And that's why they rely on sound waves. Sound waves are physical. This is why I'm sharing the supplemental evidence with the Canadians who knows about these tactics as well. And the critical part of it is the burden of proof. So what kills you more is not even the sound waves. So if you survive the sound waves and your heart managed to breathe, right? It did not kill you. What kills you is the burden of proof, right? So, for example, Boeing whistleblowers, they got killed. Then you said one committed suicide, the other died from a medical reason. But then when they wrote about them is that one of them was trying to tell the whole world about what's happening. That's what also rely on. The best thing about torturing you without touching you is the burden of proof, where you carry inside yourself and try to convince the whole world, hey, I was tortured, right? So if you didn't die, if you didn't die from sound wave torture, which actually hits your heart muscle directly, and it can stop it, you will, they think and they rely on the heavy burden of proof that may let you commit suicide, right? Which I don't carry in my case. I only need to prove to one government to protect me, not the whole world. But I had to make these videos in response to Mark advice, which is valuable, to be honest. So let's go through these files. So AI analysis, back again. So when I joined the Home Depot, I worked in internal audit before, right? So even though I'm a CPA, I'm high qualified, experienced, all these kind of things, I approached this job, which was for $4.25 an hour, with an internal audit mindset. And instead of applying for a job and, hey, I'm the Superman, I have 3 qualifications, experience across the Middle East, stuff like that. No, I get into business. So this was an opportunity for me to build an understanding of how Home Depot works. So when I apply for a job, it's not that I'm a Superman who have all these qualifications. No, I built an understanding from the bottom up. I'm now applying for a job in internal audit where I need to audit the operations that I made an effort to understand, which when I joined the Home Depot, they told me that, hey, the head of the treasury at the headquarters of the Home Depot, she started from a store, right? So my approach was right. I was doing a good job. In the Home Depot, they give us these kind of rewards. We put it here, but I still get fired. I joined Pizza Hut with the same way, so all my minimum wage jobs, I approach it in the same way, and that's not a mindset of a man who play a victim. He's the CPE, worked for PwC. I have 3 qualifications, international experience. I worked in 5 countries before moving to the United States. So my approach to make a living, a man who's married, with an approach of a man is responsible, not a man to play a victim. And here also I scored 100% from first time in this qualification from H&R Block as a block advisor doing taxes. And this is the basis of selection. So the CIA does not select anybody. Yes, straightforwardness, the guilt culture, Eastern culture, they rely on that. But they also rely on too many skills, right? They need somebody when he is squeezed enough inside the United States, he will commit a hate crime. How come I'm that, qualified with all these skills, and I go work for Pizza Hut or Home Depot for $4 an hour, right? Or deliver food or walk dogs, or why you keep me unemployed like this? Anyway, that's the case. But so in section 8 you will find my baptism certificate, U.S. Medical Police Authority and other reports, Amnesty International. I reach out to all these human rights organizations under U.S. influence. They were all silenced. They didn't want to help me. So the Brooklyn Education School, I tried to get into the career of medical biller and coder. They smeared me. The gaslighted me there also as well. Economic evidence of persecution, I shared my tax returns. So basically, I made about $52,000 in 8 years living in the United States, which is the same salary I made in Abu Dhabi, not only in 1 year, in 6 months. So I did not come from a place where I apply for benefits. Anyway, this is Esmeralda from Abueli Global. I'm not supposed to share this publicly, but 5 countries is enough and more than enough. I am here sharing public record that the CIA used this organization to gaslight us. I approved it. While this lady was gaslighting me, I was collecting an evidence, and I succeeded to collect an evidence that was proven that the CIA used these kind of websites to gaslight or manipulate people. LA discrimination, this is where I was discriminated against and blocked from working a shelter in Los Angeles, escaping New York. New Jersey also is the same thing. The Department of Labor blocked me from work. Renee Phillip, this is my caseworker in Brooklyn. My communications and emails with her, supporting documents for character evaluation and Tom Tortorici. So you will find all these files here. This is a declaration I submitted to the Canadians here as soon as I got the interview. I got into this limbo PRRA. This is my hospital report after they tried to kill me there with the trucks. Right, my ears got ruptured, my jaw dropped, stuff like that. So these are, you see, under the stress of more violence, under the stress of homelessness, they threatened me. They rely on fear. I lost so many teeth. I lost 6 out of my teeth. So these crossed is lost teeth actually. This one was fixed. So, and here's my complaint to my representative in New York, which is the last address I lived in. No response. So basically, this is a U.S. government operation. The Department of Justice will know that, oh no, we brought you here based on the CIA operation to manufacture a hate crime. You don't have rights to be heard from your representative or the Department of Justice. You're not American, right? We get IDs, we get passports, social security, whatever, driver's license, but the reason why the US government extracted me is not to live as an American, right? It's not to live even as a legal immigrant or undocumented or illegal immigrant, right? Anyway, I'm sharing what I have complained to the Department of Justice. Nothing happened, right? I complained to New York City Mayor. This is the ticket I received with unmarked vehicle. It was black vehicle, so the police officer was hiding in a black car. Anyway, so here you can find all these files, and this is also a continuation of intelligence tactics. Here the AI confirmed the US often ignores UN rulings. CIA torture cases were documented, but no accountability followed. And this is where Mark's quote came into mind. Well, I cannot protect myself, and they might hurt me here or kill me in Canada, so I have to share my case publicly. Your complaint could trigger US retaliation if you are still in the country. Well, they already retaliated twice or 3 times, right? They tried to kill me by sound waves. This is not a substitute for asylum. So the AI confirmed my accusations. I'm still not the guy to hate a country or a person. They rely on the fact that I'm Egyptian. I will hate Israel, so they tell, hey, we hire so many people from Israel, so I'm supposed to get angry. They rely on the feelings of hate and anger, which is one of the FBI directors, I guess, or no, somebody who worked in negotiation in the FBI. He confirmed like 5 emotions they rely on. So I don't hate America, not Egypt, not Israel. These are corrupt agents. They are not worthy to hate a country for, or even a person for, or anybody for, right? Anyway, so here is the tactics I tried to follow: diplomatic pressure. So, this is the tactics they follow, not me actually. So I'm trying to prove to the Canadians, which they know, they are under this pressure now, informing allied governments or institutions about the alleged misconduct to block employment, travel, or asylum, using international influence to restrict the target's opportunities. So what I am claiming that the Canadians is doing, or the Swedish have done, or the Norwegians have done, is documented, right? It's something known, the AI confirm it. They influence our allies to block their targets from asylum. My loss of livelihood is not because of me. Social isolation, these are the tactics to use. Mental health deterioration. In extreme cases, suicide or exile. They push you so hard, and which is they follow these tactics to pressure me to commit suicide or get angry to eliminate me, right? So, yeah, these are evidence of whatever supporting my accusations, why they select me, because I'm a convert, stuff like that. And the the FBI, transnational, here we go. So they weaponized the church, right? They created this crisis of divorce. Go to the church, they will provide you marriage counseling. I went to church, let's get baptized. The case is, I come from the generation that reads thousands of pages before taking a decision or to pass an exam, right? So I did not become a Christian for any other reason that I was convinced with Christianity, and this is what they relied on, that, hey, we'll come to this later, but I submit enough proof that my decision was not a fantasy or some kind of pleasing Americans or stuff like that, even though it was weaponized against me. Anyway, this website is not opening, my internet is not good. So let's move to the other supplemental submissions. So they use the police to manipulate the environment, which is Dr. Ramani confirmed, all right? So the psychologists confirm that the world around you will be manipulated for reasons, right? And here I'm submitting to the Canadians that, for example, in Raleigh, North Carolina, when I escaped stalking, actually, I did not plan to go to North Carolina. I had some agents in the bus and I had to escape, so I ended up in Raleigh, North Carolina. Anyway, in the morning, I was in the bus and there was a fight, staged fight, theatrical fight happened. And the one who got really hit hard, like he got hit really hard, is bleeding, right? He showed his phone to the police and saying, hey, I recorded everything. And that's what Dr. Romney also said. You become the investigator of yourself, like the detective of yourself, right? So you keep recording everything, which was I'm doing, writing emails, sharing emails, recording, stuff like that. So here the CIA is trying to manipulate my mind is that, hey, okay, someone can hate you, attack you, the police will know, you will have an evidence, you will have a record, voice record, that he started the fight, it's not you, all right? But then next day, this perpetrator here, it's not shown here actually. Anyway, the man who attacked this victim was shown up in the main station in Raleigh in the morning for 2-3 days. So I didn't see the victim. I have met with the perpetrator who was free, the man who hit him hard, right? And that's the psychological operation of the CIA, right? They try to put you under threat every day, every night. Threats of being evicted, being homeless, being hit hard. The police will not help you. And in this theatrical stage fight, the perpetrator, the man who's hitting hard, he was fighting for his wife. So the second thing was that to convince me that, hey, I need to fight back for my wife, to stuck in another cycle, right? And they might also be, okay, if you don't fear that somebody may hit you real hard and the police will not help you, he'll be free. They may convince you that, hey, okay, you can hit somebody and the police will not do anything. You can get angry, man, right? You can hit somebody really hard, break his tooth, do whatever, he will bleed. Next day you'll be free. Just get angry, right? We know we torture you. We know we're after you. We know we're stressing you out. And here's an example of somebody, even he have an evidence of recorded fight from the beginning, and he's free. The perpetrator is free, right? This was highly theatrical because in the South, especially in North Carolina, there are signs about profanity. Don't use profanity. So the South is more of a respect for American culture than the North. In the North, profanity is like part of English language, American language. So the police was shouting at them, and nobody shouted at anybody in America. And I mean the police, right? So it was highly theatrical, but that's how the CIA manipulate your mind. They stage this, which is Dr. Romney agreed with, or talked about, confirmed, because at the end they come and say he's schizophrenic or he's paranoid. No, this is our psychological operation, highly organized, financed, targeted, planned. So anyway, this supplemental submission POLI is about different incidents where the police was involved in the same manner where, okay, in Raleigh they did this, and even in New York they did that inside the shelter. I had to see somebody who attacked the other. There was no blood on the floor, but they put blood on his face and stuff like that, you know. And the next day, the same thing. The perpetrator, he was arrested, but next day he's free. The victim was not there. The perpetrator was there. So too much fear, right? Too much threats. And yeah, so this is about POLI, on how they use the police to create these kind of threats. and manipulate your mind about fear or anger. Whatever you choose, you will continue to escape, or you will get angry and commit a crime, hitting somebody and stuff like that. But instead of being free, you will be get caught. We discussed about the vertigo before. I'm sharing here, about my character. Why I'm not this guy who play a victim or claim that I have a medical diagnosis that doesn't exist. Well, first of all, the CIA relies on unseen diagnosis, right? And there's a slide that is missing in my forensic analysis, which is this one. So what happened was that, okay, they put me under the pressure that I'm not getting employed. And from all the jobs available that I applied for, the only job that was available to me was the job that comes with as a benefit of a disability, right? So if I have vertigo, I qualify for jobs that is available for people with disabilities, right? But the trap here was that the only job that was available, it was the job that comes as a benefit of a disability, as I said before, and they pressure me to take it. Come on, take the job. 2 days. If you don't respond, you're not gonna get the job. And this would have worked. So in this slide, I was proving that the urgency to take the job is enough evidence that the medical diagnosis is false. Haters fall into emotional traps of violence, like men whose muscles deceive them. Excessive control over the target exposes the same source of violence. So what could have happened if I took that job? The CIA can come back and discredit me, right? They master the art of discrediting their target, right? They would say, okay, he faked this vertigo thing to get a benefit, right? Which is what we have witnessed in the last 2 months. Trump administration coming and blocking visas from 75 countries. They rely on benefits. In my case, no. In my case, no. I'm not this man, and I'm not kind of this man. So under the financial hardship, right, they try to discredit you. Even one of the churches, they come and say, okay, get baptized, we give you the job you want. 120,000, 80,000, 90,000, how much do you want per year? Just get baptized. So the CIA block you from work, and then they offer you all the money you want, get baptized, but then they use this, oh, see, he's getting baptized to get money, right? He's rolling the churches to get money, right? Which I proved it with documents, not just written submissions. I proved it with documents that even when I was given money, I returned it back. So in this submission, TIGO even, one more thing I would say about this TIGO thing. So you qualify for these benefits when you become a U.S. citizen, not before a U.S. citizen. So they tried to pressure me to apply for it. After I became a U.S. citizen, I did not apply for it. And I had about $5,000 in my bank account at that time. So I was in bad need for money, but I still did not apply for the benefits. What I'm trying to prove here is that this is a proposal I prepared in July 2017. So it's basically after I got my work permit when I moved to the US, I started working. Right? I started figuring out how to make money from an isolated place, right? So I'm trying to tell the Canadians that, hey, see, when I was jobless, I created this high quality proposal to one of my clients in Egypt, because I worked for myself as I worked for companies. It's like a BWC mindset, I would say, to convince him to use a business intelligence software. It's kind of a software we use to analyze big numbers of data. And his company was big. It's like billions of dollars of sales. Billions of Egyptian pounds of sales in Egypt. So I put so much efforts to convince one client to work with me, right? It's highly organized to the best I can. It's a proposal. It was later accepted. This is what I developed. I learned Tableau. Tableau is a software where we use to analyze complex data. And I developed this. Well, now all these numbers are invalid, so it's not real. So does not represent the client numbers anyway. And here's the invoices, and I'm sharing the bank transfer, right? So from where I lived in Statesboro, when I was isolated, I learned how to use this business intelligence software. And instead of competing in the U.S. market, I competed in the Middle East because there's a gap in this application of this technology. Now the Middle East use this technology, and I'm trying also here to prove that the one that they killed in France, she wrote about something like the TIGO thing, right? So she wrote about, see, they bought some gas or something on her to make her dizzy. Not dizzy. It hurts her eyes, nose, and makes the heartbeats faster, right? So they use this kind of whatever chemical weapons or whatever they create, they put it to you in the food, you get dizzy, disability the rest of your life, right? You will drive alone, you only get jobs for disabled people. It's dehumanizing, right? Exclusion, right? So the same tactics has been used against this wonderful lady here by the Egyptian intelligence. This is what I believe. It's not something documented, but she died in France, and France did not catch anybody who killed her. So as the Egyptians cooperate with the Americans, they most probably cooperate with the French, and the French just under the influence of the Egyptians, nobody is held responsible for killing this lady. Anyway, so yeah, so this is about a meeting in the healing transition. It is the overnight shelter I had to go to in Raleigh, North Carolina, and of course they were there, whether FBI or the CIA. There was no intake meeting required, but they asked me to attend an intake meeting, and I was talked in the bus, and the same man who stalked me, he appeared in this meeting, and there was one man sitting on my right side claiming that he have a disability in his hand, and he's receiving benefits for 20 years, right? So this is how they discredit you or manipulate also your mind. You can have a disability and you can rely on these benefits for 20 years, no problem. Whatever, this was a mocking intake meeting. It was unnecessary. And later on, they brought people to the shelter, which is kind of visual exclusion. They say the tactic where they give a better kind of treatment. They treat others better in front of you, basically, simply, so you will feel degraded, right? So they received so many new people without intake meetings to make you feel like you were like, okay, you're special, right? Not one. And even in this meeting, the guy asked me, okay, don't come. There's a neighborhood rules, so they tell these people that you are alienated enough that you don't know English, and hey, there are neighborhood rules. Neighborhood rules inside the shelter is not to annoy the man who's sleeping beside you or in the next room to you. No loud noises, music, stuff like that. But the man who interviewed me here, he told me our neighbors, the homes around us, and stuff like that. Anyway, let's get to drugs. So In this shelter, they were adding, it's flipped, so I'm sorry. Anyway, so I was trying to say here that they added unnecessary rules here. You don't have to bring guns and stuff like that, which is completely unnecessary. I'm not a man who carry guns. Nobody can get into the shelter with guns, stuff like that. But they repeated this actually also in Canada, not in the same way, but a security officer was wearing a bulletproof vest, and people around me saying, okay, he's wearing bulletproof vest because there are guns in the reception center. If there are somebody having a gun in the reception center, because Canada is different, they don't have these kind of metal detecting machines. In America, we have it. They are trying to scare me, right? Why would nobody call 911 and say, hey, we suspect that someone having a gun in our reception center here, but instead the security officer just wear a bulletproof vest. Anyway, so I'm trying to provide an evidence. My caseworker challenged me actually that, oh, you want a copy of these individual living plan, we call, like the rules that I have to abide by? And I said yes, because I have an audit mindset and I was not aware what's going to happen to me. So now is the best time to provide a proof of this kind of psychological manipulation where they keep putting unnecessary activities here, because I lived in a previous shelter, right? And it's the same document, but was normal. But here they added more, so the more you survive, the more they double down, right? To scare you and threaten you. So here in Wave, I'm sharing the photos of how I was tortured with sound waves, how they use an environment to torture me, right? So you'll find the photos here. They kept me beside the door, all right, compared to others. They threatened me, hey, you move furniture, you'll be out of this in the streets, right? So under the threat of being homeless in the street, don't move your bed. Well, you keep slamming the door, and it's gonna hurt me really, right? I might get deaf, right? But that's how they torture you under normal environments, and they bring so many men, which is in the world of, we know this as auditors, because that's called administrative diffusion. So, and the government said, or even in the private business, they let so many people commit the crime, so you cannot catch one who committed it, right? So in this case, they let so many men rotated in the shelter, keep slamming the door, slamming the door, slamming the door, slamming really hard, really hard. I'm getting tortured, right? So this is the bed for the used to torture. And the other thing is the bed is made of metal, right? And it's close to the doors. So they let people, while I'm sleeping, hammer the bed really hard. This hammering does not only hurt your ears, it hurts your muscles, because it echoes, right? And they choose this corner. I was trying to prove that these corners they use increase the effect, the physical effect. It's like actually somebody is hurting you, right? Physically. So, and this was proof in the movie, in a recent movie I also shared on here. Let me, I put it here, I guess. It's called Project Hail. USA profile, yeah. So I put it in the USA profile. We can actually, does it work? Yeah. And this movie is explaining that sound waves are physical. Yeah, here it comes. Anyway, you can watch this on your own later. I only shared this scene that proves that sound waves are physical. It's the sophisticated way of how the CIA can torture you without touching you and diffusing the crime. So there are many men uh, who slam the door, not only one, which I proved here also, that using a corner increased the harm. And here's the setup was different. Only my setup was close to the door. This should start with the closet, not the bed, but they threatened me of being homeless under. Also the fear of being financially totally broke. I should have applied for benefits, right? Hey, I have vertigo. Uh, why not applying for benefits until I see it later? I need money, right? I didn't do it. Under financial hardship, the church comes and say, that was in the Mormon church, hey, we get you jobs. Do you want? How much you want? 80,000, 90,000, 120,000? Just get baptized. Later on, they will come and say, I know I'm repeating this, but that's how I emphasizing on this is a psych operation. This is a targeted operation to discredit their target. They master the art of discrediting their targets under the pressure, too much pressure of torture, financial hardships, forced unemployment, to discredit you. Even when I tried to solve the problem here with a rope, it didn't work out. You can read through what's happened. Even when they moved me, same thing happened. Even in Sweden, this is in Sweden, it was harder in Sweden because the bed was attached to the wall. So whenever they slammed the door in the room beside me from the right side, it was in Sweden it was from the right side, left side, upside. So it came from all directions, and I faced the shortness of breath in Sweden. But then they videotape you when you are, so they stop this kind of torture and then they videotape you to make you think you cannot prove it, right? So let me get back to I was talking, let's get back to the narrative. I shared about this. Sound waves are mechanical vibrations that exert physical force. In closed room, they build pressure, create room modes, and can be directed. Cymatics proves this. The wave supplemental explains exactly why shelters are ideal for this type of harm, right? The injuries are real, so I submitted medical documents that my ears got ruptured. The doctor actually didn't want to completely say it got ruptured. He said pain. Anyway, so yeah, and the physics matched it perfectly. There was one photo of my eye in Sweden. I will share it later maybe. This pattern continued inside Sweden shelters, and this was about episode 4. In episode 5, we examine weaponized psychiatry and false diagnosis. I guess we talked about that, but let's see what we can share in episode 5. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in episode 5.